The 2019 NFL Draft brought about several new quarterbacks into the league. The question is, who's going to succeed? Will any of them succeed? That's what I plan on going into today. So, as a whole, if you want my opinion regarding the 2019 draft class, I believe on the quarterback front, it was a little weak. Frankly, there weren't that many guys that I truly believed in that they'd be able to succeed. But I plan on going in depth into every quarterback taken. I don't think it was a great draft class, but I think it's worth going into to take a look and seeing where everyone fell and where that might go. Obviously, previously I talked about Daniel Jones, 6th overall pick. I will go into him more in depth as well. So we got to start off first overall pick, pretty much a lock from everyone. Everyone that did an analysis regarding who's going to be taken, Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma. So Kyler Murray is an interesting case. Guy out of Oklahoma. He is a very, let's say, undersized guy for the position. And I don't think that's anything that should be taken against him. He's an extremely gifted athlete, ridiculously gifted. He can throw super well. He can run. Now, being 5'10", he's obviously very undersized for quarterback standards. I don't necessarily believe it should be taken against him, though. He may be my height, but, yeah, I'm 5'10". I don't think it should be taken against him that he's 5'10". We see quarterbacks that still can succeed regarding that. Russell Wilson is not a tall quarterback. He's still one of the most successful guys in the league right now. Height has a factor. If you look historically, typically the most successful quarterbacks are going to be over 6'3", 6'4", somewhere around that range. Height has a factor just due to batted passes at the line. A lot of these linemen, we're getting more freak athletes year by year. People are just becoming more athletic. These linemen, 6'5", 6'6", they jump up. They have a higher chance of swatting you if you're a shorter guy, unless you have to put a lot more touch on that ball. You got to get it out quick, or you got to put more touch on it and throw it over. There's also a concern of visibility over the offensive linemen. These guys are towering over 6'6". How are you going to be able to see whenever the pocket's collapsing? How are you going to see downfield? The thing is, he has a way. This is a guy who's been this height his whole career, obviously. He knows how to handle these situations. He has vision. Now, I do think he slightly struggles under pressure. That's one thing I believe. He's got a very quick release, though. And he's just very quick as far as speed is concerned. So he can get out of the pocket if needed. He can avoid tacklers. He's got an accurate arm as well. And he's very good at making off-balance throws. He's another one of these Patrick Mahomes guys who also played baseball in the meantime. So he can throw from a lot of different arm angles. And that is kind of what it looks like the quarterback position is going to now. It's a lot of these extremely athletic, more versatile guys that can throw from any stance and throw from any position. So I think, obviously, Kyler's going to be a first-year starter. Out of all the quarterbacks, I'll throw it out right now, Kyler's going to be the only one starting right away. I think he's got certainly a potential to be super successful in this league. My concern is obviously going to be the fact that he's on the Cardinals. This offensive line is horrible. They went out and drafted offensive guards to protect him specifically, but these are rookies. Are they going to stand up to some of the better talent in the league? I don't know about that. You're going to be going against guys like Aaron Donald twice a year, and you want a rookie to guard him? I just don't know how that's going to work. My concern is injury for Kyler. Obviously, we have previous instances such as RG3, super athletic guy. But injuries, because of an awful offensive line, just held him back. It ruined his career. Could this happen to Kyler? I don't know. I think there's potential, though. Obviously, with Cliff Kingsbury now in charge, I think it's going to be that offense is going to be very beneficial and set up for Kyler to succeed. So I think he's got the chance. Out of anyone in this draft, I 100% believe Kyler's got the best chance, and that's why he was drafted first overall. Enough about Kyler now. I'll move on to Daniel Jones. Obviously, you spoke about him previously. Not a super athletic guy. He's a perfect fit for the quarterback position at 6'5". He's kind of like your stereotypical, this is a quarterback. He's not the most athletic guy on the field, obviously, but he's big in size, and he's got decent arm strength. He's nothing significant. That's one thing that I think is going to make Daniel Jones struggle, as I mentioned before. He doesn't have that big of an arm. Arm strength is a concern with him. He can get the ball out quick, and he's good in the short game. He's got a very good accuracy in the short game. My concern is deep passes. That's where I think it's entirely going to be dependent on the offense, whether or not Daniel Jones is successful or not. If he's set in a more West Coast style offense with a lot of short passes and screens, I think he's got the potential to be successful. Obviously a shocking pick at 6th overall, but I think Daniel Jones, he has a decent chance to be successful. I think he was taken maybe a little early, but I don't think the Giants made a big mistake in their pick. I think they knew what they wanted to get, and that's why they picked Daniel Jones. So I believe Daniel Jones, if coaching's right, I want him to sit a year, obviously, under Eli Manning. I want him to sit the first year. If the coaching is right, I think they are set up for it, especially with Saquon Barkley. I believe they're set up to where Daniel Jones has the potential to succeed. What does his long term look like? I don't know. But overall, I think he can be a very solid quarterback for the Giants. Moving on, obviously the next pick would be a guy who clearly was upset during the draft, Dwayne Haskins. He expected to be taken by the Giants, and they shockingly, to most, took Daniel Jones, who was projected to be the 4th quarterback taken, but he was the 2nd. And Dwayne Haskins fell all the way down to pick 15 for the Redskins. So Dwayne Haskins, obviously there was this controversy that some absolutely ridiculous quote-unquote analyst decided to say that he was more of a runner than a passer, which is ridiculous. If you look at his 40 time, obviously Dwayne Haskins, he's an athletic guy, but he's not a running quarterback. That's not who he is. He's a pocket passer. It's what he did in college. He ran when he needed to, but he's not a guy that's going to absolutely destroy a defense on his legs like Kyler Murray would. He just doesn't really have it. But Dwayne Haskins, playing for the Redskins, is not going to start. I don't believe he's going to be first-year starter, obviously. There's a reason why they brought in Case Keenum. Keenum's going to get that start, I believe. If I'm the Redskins coaching staff, I would certainly give Case Keenum the start. He's a guy who's just a very solid quarterback. Nothing flashy, but he's very solid. And he's a good guy for Dwayne to learn from. Shouldn't call him Dwayne. Most people just call him Haskins, but I'll call him Haskins. There you go. I think he's very good in the pocket, and I think that's going to be good for him. I don't think he has the arm, though, right now, to succeed. I think it will entirely rely on coaching if they can coach him to be NFL ready, because he's certainly not NFL ready now. He's very raw talent, and that's it. Obviously a little bit overconfident in his ability, and that's not necessarily good. I understand he's confident, but At some point, you got to know your place, and I hope he knows he should be sitting first round. 6'3" guy, so he's a good height for a quarterback. He's a big guy at 230 pounds, so obviously he's not going to burn you, but he's a good pocket passer because of his size. Overall, I personally don't think Haskins is going to be that much of a success on the Redskins. I don't think the Redskins' offense is necessarily fit for him either. I don't think they're set up. I don't think they have the offensive line talent. I don't think they have the receiver talent to help him out. So, Dwayne Haskins, unless he gets coached properly, I don't believe he's going to be that much of a success. Now going into the second round, we have Drew Lock, who got drafted by the Broncos, Denver Broncos. Interesting guy out of Missouri. He's a guy I watched a lot through his college, actually. Being a fan of Mizzou myself, I certainly saw him play a lot. He's a guy with a very big arm. This guy's arm strength is crazy. He's very athletic as well, so he can run to escape pressure. But I got to say again, he's a very raw talent. At 6'4", 230, he's a big guy. He's a very big guy. But he's got some concern regarding the fact that he's just a raw talent. He's not NFL ready at the moment. He took a lot of risky throws just because he had a big arm. And that works in college sometimes. It obviously depends, but a lot of times it works in college. But the NFL is completely a different story. These guys are all the best in their class, and it's going to be hard to succeed. So for Drew, obviously he's going to be sitting under Joe Flacco first year. That's why the Broncos brought on Joe Flacco. He's going to be mentoring him. Supposedly, I know that there was obviously controversy regarding Joe Flacco saying he was not going to teach Drew Lock because it's not his job to. I think Joe Flacco still will. He's an aging quarterback who's not necessarily going to be worth the money he was paid. But the Broncos brought him on because they wanted a veteran presence. And obviously, Lamar Jackson's taken over that role in Baltimore as quarterback. So Flacco needed a position, and he came here to Denver. So as far as Drew Lock is concerned, he's another guy that can throw off balance just due to the fact that he's got such a big arm. I don't think he's going to be a success in the league. I think it's just because he's such a good talent, but I just don't think he's going to make it. He's just a guy that, I don't know. I don't think he's NFL ready at the moment. He could be coached. I just don't think he is NFL ready at the moment. I think he could be there. It just all depends on the coaching staff, and I don't think the Broncos have a coaching staff that necessarily can make that happen. Obviously, having an executive and John Elway, obviously very good quarterback in his day, but if you look at his track records on quarterbacks, he's had a lot of failure. He brings in a lot of guys that just do nothing. I don't know if he's necessarily a good guy for picking quarterbacks, so I just don't know if Drew Lock is set up necessarily to succeed. I think he could on some team at some point. I think it depends on his offense again and the coaching staff to get him ready. He needs to not rely so heavily on his big arm and not take risky shots down the field. If he does that and focus on what he's strong at, his quick throws, strong arm, I think he can succeed. He's got to develop accuracy, though, along the way. Next, we have Will Grier, 6'3", 217, out of West Virginia. Picked 124th overall. So here's where we kind of get into the lower end of quarterbacks taken. These are guys that are 100% just for backups. Taken by the Panthers. Obviously, he's not going to be starting. He's just kind of a backup to serve if Cam were to get injured. Cam's a guy that takes a lot of hits because he's a very mobile quarterback. Huge guy, though. Cam is ridiculously huge of a guy, but he takes a lot of punishment. So that's why a guy like Will Greer's here to kind of come in there. He's got a very quick release. He's a pretty quick guy, a little bit slender in terms of his frame for running, but he's very good at checkdowns, and he's a good guy for the short passing game. He's a very good athlete, but he'll be very fit, I think, for that offense, and he could be a good backup in case anything were to happen to Cam. Obviously, sitting back up to Cam, who's going to be playing for another several years, Will Greer's not going to see much action unless he gets traded, so it's hard to give an accurate estimate on Will Greer. We've next got Ryan Finley, 6'4", 213, out of NC State. He was taken by the Bengals. The Bengals, a team that obviously are going to be in need of a quarterback relatively soon. Andy Dalton has been facing some injuries. He's an older quarterback, so they're going to be looking for a replacement, and they tried to find that in Ryan Finley. He's a very tall guy, obviously at 6'4", good height for a quarterback. He's got a very good touch on the ball, so his throwing is soft enough to where it's good. It makes it easier for receivers to catch it. I think there's a concern when it comes to accuracy, and he's a guy that is strictly a pocket passer as well. That's kind of his thing. He doesn't have that extremely good of arm strength, and he sometimes forces passes. He does certainly force passes. He's not a guy that's NFL ready. Bengals coaching staff will need to do a lot of work if they want Ryan Finley to be a success. He could be, but he's going to need a lot of success, a lot of coaching. But overall, he's got a decent arm talent. Next, we have Jarrett Stidham, who was taken by the New England Patriots, a guy out of Auburn. Relatively short guy for the quarterback position at 6'2", 218. Normal size. He does have good arm strength, and he's decently mobile. Obviously, he's not going to be taking any job from Tom Brady. He just signed a 2-year contract at age 41, so Brady's probably going to be playing until he's 43, if not 44. So Tom Brady, he found the key to not age. So Stidham, I think he's in the perfect system to learn. I think he got drafted by a very good team. The Patriots are so good at turning these quarterbacks, which I would consider relatively average, into success stories. You see it the year that Brady tore his ACL, and the Patriots, what a shocker, still got over 10 wins, made the playoffs. So I think Stidham found a very good offense here, and I think the coaching staff will be fantastic for him. I think he should definitely just sit and learn as much as he can until maybe he replaces Brady. If he doesn't replace Brady, then I think he needs to go ahead and go somewhere else after a couple of years of learning under him. Next would be Easton Stick, taken by the Chargers. Not a significant story here, 6'1", 224. Taken by the Chargers. Nothing significant. Phillip Rivers still going to be playing for quite a while. I don't really have much to say about Easton. I don't know too much about him. As well as the following two, we got Clayton Thorson, taken by the Eagles. Obviously not going to be starting anytime soon due to Carson Wentz being their focus right now. 6'4", 222, big guy. Taken in the 5th round, 29th overall. Very big guy at a Northwestern. He's got a frame for it. He's got the frame to be a quarterback, but you never know here when you get later in these rounds who's going to be a success and who won't. Next, Gardner Minshew, 6'1", 225. A little bit of concern when it comes to height. Out of Washington State. He was taken by the Jags. Don't think he's going to see much action in the NFL necessarily. Finally is a guy I know more, who was taken in the 6th round, 24th overall, Trace McSorley. A guy I saw a lot of highlights for out of Penn State. I watched a lot of Penn State highlights previously. Trace McSorley certainly has the potential to be a very big talent just due to his explosiveness. But that's something that works in college football, not necessarily the NFL. So he's an undersized guy at 6 foot 202, 202 pounds. He certainly has the ability to escape the pocket, and he's got a relatively accurate arm when he's running on the move. So he's a guy who can throw from several positions, but he's not overall the most accurate guy in general. Arm strength isn't that impressive, and I think his throwing motion itself not very successful to actually beat these guys that are NFL defensive linemen. I think he's going to have a lot of batted passes if he does play. Obviously, he's going to be backup now to Lamar Jackson, who's going to be the Ravens guy. I think overall he'll be 3rd in the depth chart in terms of quarterbacks concerned, but I don't think Trace McSorley is necessarily going to be that big of an NFL talent. Those would be the quarterbacks taken in 2019 draft. If you agree with me on any of these, feel free to let me know, but that's all I really have to say regarding these guys, and thank you for watching.